National Employment Law Project, or NELP, is a research, education, and advocacy organization that focuses on improving jobs and economic opportunity for low-wage workers, unemployed workers, and other workers who face disadvantage in the workplace. America's workers are facing some really serious issues. There's the immediate problem of high unemployment and slow job growth. Workers' wages are stagnant and for many workers are falling, and families are just having a hard time getting by.
I think a lot of people think when they're in their 20s and 30s, okay, by 40, I'm gonna be established in my career, I'll have a nice nest egg going, cars, family, house, and we thought we were there. And then, the economic rug was just pulled out from under us, and we literally are starting over at zero. I don't know, just the whole American dream just seems like it's kind of gone. Unemployment for us started with my husband's unemployment in January of 2006. He was laid off from his job with Ford Motor Company, which he had had for about 16 and a half years. We were making about $150,000 a year, and immediately we lost half of that income. And then when I lost my position, our only income was unemployment, which was about $20,000 between the two of us. Michael's 99 weeks of unemployment ended. So then we were down to just my unemployment. We ended up losing our home to foreclosure. We live with Michael's mom now. She was gracious enough to take us in. There were several times that the Congress and Senate had to vote on whether they were going to extend benefits. We were both out of work for such a long period of time. Had unemployment insurance not been there and had those extensions not been passed, I don't know what we would have done. Without those funds, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we would have been on the street when the politicians were ready to just cut it off. NELP jumped right in there and was pushing for extension of those benefits and why people needed those benefits. That was very reassuring because as just two people, among millions of Americans and among 14% of the population that was out of work, it's really easy to start feeling like you're forgotten. And to have an organization there that did not have an agenda, that was not politically driven, but was there for the sole purpose of bringing awareness to the unemployment situation in the United States is just critical.
NELP is doing three things to help our nation's workers. First, we're bearing witness. We're doing the research to tell folks what's going on in the economy and in America's workplaces. Second, we're acting. We're advocating policies that will improve working conditions, raise wages, give workers real opportunity. And finally, we're partnering with allies all over the country.
NELP's been essential to speak for and give voice to policies that are going to help put people back to work, help create good jobs out of bad jobs, how to reduce the level of unemployment in the country, and actually create an economy that works for everyone and not just those at the top.
When I think of NELP, I think of this entity without which organization like ours will never be able to understand the crafting of a legislation.
It's extremely important for immigrant and low-wage workers to have an organization like NELP because workers need as much information about what their rights are and also a resource to help develop new and creative strategies to help workers fight for their rights.
I'm part of a group called Domestic Workers United. I'm a domestic worker, and I've seen and heard what takes place in this industry. Some of them, the things that I've heard, send chills through my body. There was this time I worked with this family for 9 months. I had to have surgery and I asked them for the time off. And then when the week was up, I called her and I told her, well, I'm coming back out on Monday. She said no, because then you would have to have doctor visits, and I don't think this would work out. My job was terminated. Domestic workers are not protected under any labor laws. So we're creating the Bill of Rights, which would then protect us from any kind of abuse, be it physically or verbally. NELP has supported domestic workers like myself by providing support and advice, the legal aspect of it. We had knowledge of our industry, but they have knowledge about the policies and how it works. So actually the collaboration with NELP was very important in order for us to get the Bill of Rights passed. If you don't stand for something, then you stand for nothing. And NELP encourages us to take a positive stand, to stand and speak up and to be heard.
This is such a critical moment for workers because so much of what we believe in seems to be on the chopping block. Unions are being attacked, public sector workers are being attacked. Some folks have even said we should reduce or repeal the minimum wage. Some have even argued that it's unconstitutional. You know, I don't think any of us imagined that in the 21st century we would have to refight some of the battles that were fought at the beginning of the 20th century. And that's why it's so critical for us to fight right now, as hard as we can, as long as we can, for America's workers and their families.